Arthur brings a wealth of experience helping teams push the limits on what's possible with Asana, especially with AI Studio. And so today he's going to walk us through some of the coolest use cases in action today. And so, Arthur, whenever you are ready, feel free to share your screen and take it away. Really looking forward to this session.
Awesome. Thanks for the introduction, Marquis. That was perfect. So yeah, great intro. Nothing much to say. I'm Arthur from French. In French, we say Arthur. Very happy to be here today to introduce my coolest and our coolest at i.DO workflows and also AI Studio features. Hopefully, they will save you some time in Asana every single day. First, let me please introduce shortly who we are at i.DO. We are an Asana Solutions partner. We work globally. We are fully dedicated to Asana, so we are a pure player of Asana. And we support clients, Asana clients, from basic onboarding to very complex multiple team deployments. And we are definitely specialized in AI Studio. We were one of the first partners involved in the beta of AI Studio, so quite a long time ago already. The tool was very technical at that time, so now it became much more user-friendly, and that's great. We are certified AI Studio and AI Studio Plus and Pro reseller for sure. And finally, I think most importantly, we use it ourselves daily at i.DO. That's really part of our processes here. I think we started maybe with around 10 workflows 6 months ago. And now we are about 40 plus workflows where AI Studio is delivering value internally for us. And I think we like to look at the ROI approach, and I will try to give you a bit of that today in the way that AI Studio is saving you some time, sometimes also saving you some money, and also you need to probably look at the way your credits are being spent. We will talk a bit about that also today. So 15 minutes demo followed by some Q&A, 3 use cases that you can take away with you. Mindset is not necessarily the usual AI Studio workflows, like the common request in, task out flows that are very powerful. But today, especially in a short amount of time, I wanted to give you a bit more of the creative ones, out of the box workflows, a bit like a Swiss Army knife type of workflows, small tools, versatile, more for personal productivity, but also for team productivity. Not necessarily game changers, but door openers. Let's dive in. Like I said, 3 workflows. First one is going to be the Butler, a bit of a mysterious name. This one will be able to clean it up some tasks for you, maybe add the due date, add the task to a specific project, and other things too. Super convenient on a daily basis, especially when you create some draft tasks. It will help you streamline and structure them properly. Then the translator, this one is a classic translator in Asana AI Studio, but enhanced with some company guidelines, tone of voice, etc. And finally, the last one would be the decision analyzer. So this one is more to save some time by identifying some misalignments in decisions you can make as a team or as a company. All right, so welcome in my demo environment. By the way, I'm called Michel in this environment. Don't be surprised. Here is my tasks. So if we look at the first workflow, the Butler one, the idea is about helping you improving and structuring some draft tasks. So for example, if you are about creating a task during a meeting, when you just have some kind of notes you want to take or just some flash idea you want to draft somewhere, probably you could create a task using, by the way, the shortcut tab Q, which is a nice shortcut to quickly create some tasks. And you would say, for example, I would say, ask Bastien about the next October podcast. And I would say, this is urgent and involve also the team, something like that, very quick. This task here would go in my recently assigned section, but it's not full. It misses definitely some information. It's not sorted properly, not in the right project, no due date. So I will need to spend some additional time to review this type of tasks. Sometimes it's actually a series of tasks at the end of your day. You need to go through them. Okay, what I meant there, or I forgot to write. I don't remember what it was. So the rules, the Butler rule is about improving that process. I will do the process again, but this time, let me do it with the tab Q again. This time, I will type the word Alfred in the title and do the same, urgent, and involve the team. So this task with the word Alfred here is treated differently. It's automatically added in an additional project here, a project called Alfred, my personal butler. And I will explain a bit later why we use a project and why I'm not using directly your Asana rules. But let me show you this project. This is an empty project that will see my task here and handle it using an AI Studio rule that we will review in a minute. But first, let me come back to the task. Here it is. So the task has been here renamed. It's been added to a project. It's been reformatted in terms of description, and my team has been involved as collaborator to the task. And optionally, we could also have the due date, but maybe I wasn't specific enough for the task to define, for the workflow to define what's the best due date. But at least it's much more clear now, and it's completely actionable and structured in a way that makes sense for me and my way of working. The way it works, it's indeed this rule here, cleanup task in the Alfred, my personal butler. So I go to the customize panel, rule, and then find the rule. And it's a basic AI Studio rule. So when the task arrives, I will do a series of action in order to enhance the task. And then it's a basic prompt that say, just read the task and understand what is it about and do a series of actions to improve it. So this is a basic workflow. It's about structuring things in a reliable way. And I really like it on a daily basis when I draft those tasks with very few information. It's also useful if you dictate the tasks. I know that some people are doing that with the phone. That could be also very handy to just quickly dictate something, and then the rule, the AI Studio workflow will help you better structure. Now, let me explain why I've been using another project and not directly the my task as a rule. Well, the reason is if I wanted Alfred to exist at the level of my tasks, click on one of that rule called detect Alfred. This rule is about detecting the name Alfred in the task because I don't want AI to look at all my tasks. Most of my tasks don't need to be rewarded. I just need when I call for Alfred, AI is looking at it. So that identification could be done via what we call here a condition, eventually using some AI conditions, saying that only when Alfred is in the title. But doing that would review all my tasks and it will cost some credits, meaning that every time I push a task in my tasks, it will need to review using AI. So what we do here, we actually use as an alternative of AI for the condition, we use what we call a custom script. So this is not directly AI Studio. This is a custom script that is accessible, by the way, for Enterprise and Enterprise Plus Asana clients. It is available in the action menu in the external action here, Run Scripts. And the way it works, it's basically code you add into your Asana. Any piece of code, not any, but some piece of code that you can add to your Asana that are stored in Asana, and they will do simple things, at least in that case, that's simple. What this code is doing, what this script is doing is like identifying Alfred in my task and then sending the task to the right project, which is the Alfred personal butler. So long story short and a bit technical, but This rule is very handy, but we wanted to make sure that it's contained over a specific perimeter of my tasks, and we use a custom script for that, combining the script and the AI Studio rule in order to make it efficient and also cost efficient in terms of credits. Next use case, let's have a look at the translator. So here the idea is that at i.DO, we use translation a lot, a part of our marketing processes, especially a process we call the content factory, where every piece of content we create in a project is then repurposed, shared through almost 30 different channels we communicate to. And within the process of pushing the content to the different channels, we use one main task for the content, and we use subtasks for the channels, but also subtasks for the content translated. So the main content here, for example, is in English, and we are able to create easily a subtask containing the translation that we will then reuse for the different posts on the social networks, blogging, etc. The way we do that is actually via a simple button here. I call that a button, but that's actually a custom field. A custom field we press and say and decide which of the languages we support we want to translate it to. So for example, let's try with Italian. In a few seconds, it will create here a subtask. We will come back to it in a moment. I'm opening an existing one here to show you. And the subtasks contain the translation based on the description of the task above. This is fairly basic in Asana, this workflow. And here it is, Italian translation containing all the Italian translation formatted the exact same way. And what we have been doing here is enhancing the rule with your company guidelines, tone of voice, etc. Let me show you. If I open the rules of this project, the translation rule is here. So the rules say if the translation is changed, I would like you to create the subtasks, and then we let AI do the rest, find the proper title, but also define the proper description, and eventually define a assignee. If you need someone to review the translation, for example, you could here explain AI that you need some of the people based on the language to review things. And then what we do here, we clear the button, the custom fields, in order for the custom fields to go back to its normal state. So when I push Italian, it goes back to null, and then it's ready for me to action it again. Basic rule, but here in the prompt, and that's what I love, we have added here some additional company guidelines. And this is really where the magic happens and makes a big difference with other generic translation tool. This file here that I've attached via the Google Drive integration, also work with the SharePoint integration, is here a piece of documents containing all the company and for each of the different languages, tone of voice, the different way we translate the features in Asana, some idioms, some consistency, also keywords, different formatting, different dates for the different languages and zones and countries in the world, politeness, etc., etc. And this makes a big difference because this is what the human value is at the moment. Most of the time, it's like finding those little differences between the languages. For example, in French we say vous or tu to say you, and it's quite subtle to understand when you're going to say vous or when you're going to say tu, and this is done generally by human. But AI can support this process. You probably need a human at the end of the process to review things, and that's what I would advise, to always have a human to review the task at the end of the process. But let's say that working with those enhanced and custom translation workflows would make that process much efficient in terms of what AI is delivering. So to conclude, better consistency in the translation, save money for not paying an additional tool eventually. If you consider using only Asana for your translation, you'll be using credits, but you can do that in an efficient way. And also save time not using additional tool. If you're doing those copy pasting things, you're losing overall a lot of time if you're translating a lot of content, and you will save a lot of time also there. And again, human probably has a role to play, but less and at the end of the process only. And finally, let me open the last one that we have called the decision analyzer. The idea with this workflow is about preventing misalignment when you're making decisions. So let's say that, as we do internally, we have those team meetings in Asana, and what we do is register decision. So we've been speaking about an important topic, and as a team, most of the time, we say, okay, we have a topic, we have made that decision, let's move on. So for example, here, let's say I have a topic about new time off request form. Employees have requested a better system to request time, as the current one is not bringing satisfaction. Okay, but let's say you're very busy this week, you have other priorities, and you decide that not a priority at the moment. And you decide to do that, and eventually you complete the task and you move on with your meeting. The purpose of this workflow is to be able to review those decisions, important decisions, probably in the perimeter of an important team meeting, and to supply some suggestion based on your company mission and vision, in the way that all those nice documents you have probably created as a company, where we're going, why we're going there, and how we're going there, this is sometimes a bit forgotten in the day-to-day of the operation. What AI here will do is that take you by the hand and say, watch out, because maybe what you're deciding here will be against or not completely aligned with your company value and vision and mission, etc., allowing you to rework thing, eventually backpedal. And that's where you save time, because instead of going in a way that's actually will waste you a lot of time redoing things, treating differently, maybe making your employees not completely satisfied, this is the way to reconsider things and say, well, oh, wait, maybe I was misaligned. Why? Because this is my values, and why is that not aligned? So maybe consider a lightweight solution or timeline commitments. Okay, let me reopen the task and let's take another decision before going further. The way it's built, it's in your customized panel here. Rule, again, challenge decision alignment. That's the name of my rule. It's actually, in this case, based with an AI condition. So it's only when it's misaligned. So if it's aligned, it won't say a word. But if it's misaligned, it will add a comment. And this comment is fueled by a task. In that case, it could be a document, but it's a task. That's pretty useful also to use tasks for that, containing the vision and values. And this task here, it's a short one, that's a demo, but you can add a lot of piece of information here. And that's what AI will use to review your important decisions. Alfred, to capture your messy thoughts and clean them into actionable tasks. Translator, to localize your content using the consistency of your company, tone of voice, etc. And finally, the decision analyzer to flag any misalignments. Overall, it's like fewer clicks, fewer mistakes, more focus on your Asana, and hopefully there is a potential to save quite some time applying this type of workflows, AI Studio in your Asana.
Appreciate that. You've got lots of questions here. We're gonna dive into those. Just a couple big takeaways. One thing that I appreciated about your approach was the aspect of cost savings when it comes to using either a standard rule or running scripts. People were wondering if you're able to share the script.
Honestly, the script is one prompt away. So use any of the LLM tool out there, explain what you want to do, and it's a great way to work with the script in Asana. The good thing is Asana is great to help you identify the issue with your scripts. Let me show you here the rule into the My Task. So scripts are coming with a run history, very handy. And each one of them we explain eventually the potential issues here with a clear error message. So if you come with a script and that doesn't work, just take that error message and work again with it, use a ChatGPT, use a Gemini or other tools to refine the script. So I can definitely share the scripts, but it's very accessible. And have in mind that we also at i.DO have a page with free scripts you can download.
Perfect. So we got some resources coming your way. Appreciate that. When we're building these AI rules, is there a way to review or audit what information the AI has access to? In the case, of security, if we want to think about it that way, if the AI is invited to your project or it's used, is it strictly just staying in Asana? Is that information being shared or used to teach other models?
Be assured that Asana is looking at it from a very strict perspective. Asana deals with the models OpenAI and Anthropic. Those are the one running the AI studios. And by the way, you can select in your workflows which one you select when you run a workflow. And Asana has very strict deals with those models where no data is trained. So be assured that's not the case. You have the highest level of security in terms of data you can have using AI Studio. And there is a lot of documentation you can find online on the Asana security page about that specific topic.
Arthur, can all of these AI examples be performed on all plans, or are they restricted to advanced or enterprise plans?
Like I said, scripts are for enterprise plus clients. But if we talk about AI Studio, that's the focus of today. I think any plan at the moment, paying plan at least, can use the AI Studio feature. And it's all about credits, basically. You're allowed a series of credits based on your plan, free credits when you use the AI Studio free plan. And then there is a series of paying plans. You can subscribe to the Plus plan, which is the size of the team, I would say. And then you have the Pro plan, which is more the multiple teams or a company. So yeah, free plus Pro. And it's through every of the Asana plans, paid plans, advanced, enterprise, all the plans can have access technically to AI Studio.
Can you just explain credits quickly, what that looks like, and maybe some best practices when building rules so we're not, in a place where we're potentially spending more than we need to?
Yes, definitely a challenge of Asana clients when using AI Studio. And the great thing is Asana has made that very transparent, meaning that when you open your rule here, you will have on the top right a clear details of the different rule triggers, and for each of them, how much credit you have spent. And clicking on it, you have the detail of the task, and you can understand exactly the reasoning behind the action. So it's very, very transparent. This is from a rule perspective. This also exists from an admin perspective. I'm not sure if I can share anything right now, but in your admin console, if you're an admin of your Asana, you can access a total overall spending of your credits and also per person. And I think per rule, it's coming that you will also see directly all your company rule from your admin console.
What are some of your best practices of how to limit credit consumption when we're in the testing phase? Are there any safe places that we can, go to test these things? Sandboxes, for example, where Asana knows, hey, we're just testing. This is not a live thing here. Anything like that, or any best practices you can share?
Actually, AI Studio is based on those models, OpenAI, Anthropic. Thus, Asana is paying for those credits, meaning that it has a cost for Asana, a cost that somehow clients have to pay. That's why at the moment, the free plan is very generous. You can have a bunch of credits you can use for free until you pay for the paying plans. My point to that is there is no way to use AI Studio completely for free out of any credit consumption because it has a cost for Asana. My goal would be to work with a team of champions. A team of champions, you train, you empower, you give them maybe a use case or two to work with, and you try to see the gains after a few weeks or months, and see if that's worth paying for the paying plans, and that's why worth going to the paying plans credits. Do you make a business case out of it? But if you let everyone use your credits, indeed, it's a bit challenging to contain that credit expense. Maybe that's the sign that your people are excited by it, and actually, it's worth paying for the additional credits plan.
When it comes to rules like the one that compares tasks to our core values and comments, if there's misalignments, it appears that the trigger here is when a comment is added. That means all comments in all tasks added to the project and potentially subtasks might trigger the AI Studio rule. Is there a risk that this AI rule is going to run too often? So I think in your example, with Alfred, it was looking for just that word, and that's why the script was important. So how can we better refine that, or how do we approach that with AI Studio?
The rules are very handy to design some additional conditions. So if you want to restrict the way the rule applies, you have multiple ways to do that. One first would be on the top right in your settings to make sure that the rule doesn't apply on subtasks. If you say never useful on subtasks, you could first disable here this toggle button. That's the first condition. And then you can actually add additional condition in your check-if to make sure that task, let me see if that works. I would say, for example, if the task is in one specific section, I want to review when the comment is added, meaning that for all the other section, that won't apply. This is a small example, but you could find other conditions to reduce the amount of time that this rule is triggered.
Perfect. Thank you for that. Priya's asking, do you think it's possible to make an impact with AI Studio on the free plan? I'm a 1,000-person organization, but haven't been able to get any budget for AI Studio.
Yeah, I think it all depends on the size of your workflow, the number of time it will eventually trigger. Again, I think if you are, for example, on the enterprise plan, I think that's about 200K credits as a world company a month, and then you will need wait for the reset of your credit the next month. 200K is about globally 200 times you trigger workflow. Average could be 1,000, maybe it's going to be less, a bit more. So let's say 1,000 per workflow, it's 200 times. The question is like what you can do with 200 times workflow triggers. It's up to you and up to your company and industry, but probably it's enough to create a business case. From my point of view, that's where you should go there. Make a business case of the value using the free plan and use it as a proof of concept that you actually, it's worth spending into the paying credits plan.
What are your thoughts on who should be creating these rules? Because we have to think about training people in how to use the AI properly and then maintaining it and giving it feedback and context to make sure that it's continually running. So, what are your thoughts on who should be doing this? How should we approach when building? And how should we create standards within our teams as well?
The way I see it is really about that team of AI Studio champions that you need to elect and to find somehow and train them. That's really the way to go from my point of view. It's a bit challenging if you're on the free plan because you cannot select your what we call the builders. Asana made it in a way that currently everyone can use AI Studio, so it's you don't have tangible tools to really reduce and restrict the users for AI Studio. This feature is accessible in the paying plans. Actually, if you go to the Pro plan, especially, you can select those builders and define as those person will be the one creating the workflows, not the rest of the company. So if you're on the free plan or on a plus plan, it's about monitoring, I would say, and telling people I would advise you to not use it too much because it's about credits, or you're going to be my champion. I want you to spend a bit of time looking at those workflows. But there is no perfect solution. I think it's a bit of communication to your team, monitoring your admin console, training the champions, and again, working from a proof of concept perspective, aiming at making that proof and going to the paying plans, especially the pro plan, if you can.
What are your thoughts on maybe there are some things that you're testing right now that you're able to share, or what are your predictions? What would you like to see AI Studio turn into? If we were here a year from now, what kind of things have changed when it comes to what's available to us?
I like to see the workflows being more recommending things. I think at the moment it's really about structuring a great workflow and looking at it, doing things and making decisions and supporting humans and sometimes replacing a bit some of the human roles. Um, I like the workflow to be more, or the workflow or the whatever AI feature that is coming to be more autonomous. I like those new features to be able to make decision out of the box or maybe recommend things and tell me, by the way, this one, it's not what you have asked, but I think you should do that. So going a bit the extra mile, thinking out of the box, I think that's where we want AI to be in the next, hopefully, months with Asana.
Awesome. Perfect. Last question I have for you. What are your best practices on selecting the correct model for your use case? And like for me, like my answer is test it out yourself. If you use the create, right, and you say, I want the AI to do this, it'll probably give you Sonnet 4 based on what you're looking for it. And then I've tested it myself where I'm like, okay, what if we choose, 4.0 mini from ChatGPT? The guidance will then tell you, oh, sorry, we can't do this. Or maybe you'll get a completely different output that doesn't have the context at all. So like for me, it's a lot about testing. But what are your thoughts on like when to pick the right model when we're building these out?
It's like you said, it's about testing things with the model, starting maybe from the lowest costs and see if that works. And then if that doesn't, increasing the model until you find the right settings. I think Asana provides a series of, let's say, options here or recommendation, suggestion, how to use the different models. I think there is even more on the Help Center page of Asana, where you can have more insights when to use the different models. But indeed, going from the lowest consuming one to the highest based on the results you obtain is definitely the way to go.
Any parting thoughts, anything you'd want to share here in conclusion, Arthur, as we wrap it up?
Very exciting for today. Thanks a lot for giving me the opportunity. We have a page, like I say, I.DO with custom scripts. So if you want to have a look, I've shared it, or maybe you will share it later. And happy to be here and see you next time for the next one.
Absolutely. Yes. Thank you so much for being here, Arthur. I know that the audience is very thankful for having your expertise being shared and appreciate this demo that you provided today. Thanks so much. Enjoy the rest of the day and then stay warm over there in France.
I'll try. Thank you, Marquis. Bye-bye.
Also, bye bye.